viewers, welcome back to my channel Grammar Tales, Learn English Grammar with Krish. So we will continue with the topic mood. So if you remember, in the last class we had done definition of mood and what we had done the indicative mood. There are basically three types of mood in English, isn't it? What are those? Those are the indicative mood, imperative mood and subjunctive mood. So in the previous class we had finished with indicative mood. Now if you remember, I had told you the definition of mood. What is mood? Moods are what? These are different modes or manners, isn't it? Let me write it down. Modes or manners. Fine. So what are moods? This is the definition of moods. Alright. Moods are modes or manners in which a verb may be used to express an action. Alright. So these whatever modes or manners we use to show what kind of an action a verb is doing, those moods or manners are called what? Moods. Fine. So in the previous class, what we had done, first class of moods, we had done the indicative mood. So what are indicative moods used for? When a verb is used to express, say, a statement, give a statement or ask a question or say make a supposition. Say when you assume that a supposition is a fact. Alright. So this kind of verbs when we use to express a statement, ask a question or make a supposition which is assumed to be a fact, such verbs are said to be in the indicative mood, isn't it? We had done like to make a statement of fact, suppose Ram goes to school daily, isn't it? Or say we are taught mathematics. So these are what? These are statement of facts. Now you can ask a question. Have you found your book? Are you well? Have you eaten your breakfast? So this is what? This is asking questions. And what we had done in the example for making a supposition, say we take the supposition as a fact. For example, if it rains, I will not go out, isn't it? So that if we use is a supposition. If it rains, I will not go out. So that was the indicative mood. So today we will be doing what? We will be doing the imperative mood. Fine. Now, what is the imperative mood used for? Let's see. The imperative mood. What we use it for? First is to express a command. Alright, to express a command. So say, let's take an example for this. So what we can write, we can say, for example, if we say, wait there. Suppose we tell someone, wait there. Is it not a command? It is a command. So we use the imperative mood to express a command. Wait there. Or say, come here, sit down, all this. Alright. Come here, sit down, or you can say open your book. So these are all what? These are all commands. So the first use of the imperative mood is what? To express a command. Now let's see what is the second use. Number 2. Express an exhortation. All right. First, let me give you the example, then I'll tell you the meaning. Right? Say, for example, if I say, be steady. This is an example of exhortation. Take care of your health. Alright. Say if I want to give more examples of exhortation. So what is exhortation? It is a kind of urge or an appeal to the public, isn't it? You must have read in many places also some advisories are given like say for example, don't drink and drive. isn't it? So it is a kind of an appeal or urge or an advisory. Generally it is used to give an advice by using some strong words. All right, so the imperative mood is also used to express an exhortation. This is an urge or appeal or advisory which are in which strong words are used to give advice to the public. All right, so this is an exhortation. That is the imperative mood. Fine, I hope you have understood. It's very example. Then there are some also, don't drink and drive. Then some more examples, like you can say smoking is injurious to health, isn't it? These are all what? These are exhortations. All right. Okay. Now let's see the last use of imperative mood. Number 3, to express an entreaty. All right, entreaty. What is the meaning? Entreaty or prayer. Now let's take an example first. It's very easy to understand. You know, sometimes we say, God bless you. Oh God, have mercy on us. Then we can say, give us this day our daily bread. What? These are all what? These are entreaty or prayer, isn't it? Say, if we say, have mercy on us. Have mercy on us, isn't it? So we are praying, isn't it? We are praying. So another one you can say, give us this day. This is a kind of prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. Daily bread. So these are what? All entreaties or prayers. So this kind of entreaties or prayers, they come under the imperative mood. The verb used here is in the imperative mood. Fine. So these are the second part, that is in the previous class we had done the indicative mood, and this is the imperative mood. So imperative mood is used for what? To express command, to express an exhortation, and also to express an entity or prayer. Fine. Now see, in these sentences, which will be the verb? Have, give, these are what? These are all verbs, isn't it? It's denoting action. So the words that I've underlined, these are the verbs. That is the verbs in the imperative mood. All right. Okay. See, one more thing you just notice here. When we say wait there, when we were expressing a command, isn't it? Say a command. Wait there. So here what we have omitted? We have omitted the subject, isn't it? We have not used the subject. It is not necessary. The subject could have been what? You. You wait there. So in case of imperative mood, the subject is generally omitted. We can say wait there, then we can say open the book. We don't mention the subject, isn't it? Do we say children always? The teachers do they always need to say children open the book, or name of any specific student? Ritu open the book, Samir open the book. Not necessary. We just say, all right, while giving a command we say what? Open your book, come here, that way, isn't it? So this is the imperative mood. Fine. So we have omitted the subject here. All right. So let me just read you a line. The imperative mood can strictly be used only in the second person, since the person command must be the person spoken to. So when we use the imperative mood, we use it only in the second person. Why? Because the person giving the command is the first person, isn't it? I am the person speaking, and the person I am giving the command to is the second person. So the imperative mood can strictly be used only in the second person. You, isn't it? You. We are omitting it, but then it is we are indicating, or it is indicative, isn't it? It is implied that the second person is being used here. So the first person is speaking, he is the speaker, and the person being spoken to is the second person. And in this case, the subject can be omitted because it is implied, it is understood. That is the way imperative mood is used. Fine. So that will be all for today. In the next class, we will be doing the subjunctive mood. Thank you.